And we are live. Welcome back with Murphy Mac to another episode of the Fitness Beginner Podcast, where we help you get started on your fitness journey. What is going on, everybody? Hope y'all off to a great week. Hope y'all having a great day so far, being safe on the way to work. I had a little change of plans. I had somebody that was going to join the podcast today, and I guess there's some miscommunication or something. So we're going to have to pivot, and we're going to roll with it, and we're going to get it done either way. No big deal. That happens. So today we're going to talk about in the podcast is perfecting the skill of lifting weights. So lifting weights, there's a skill to it. Like you're probably not going to be very good at it when you start because you don't really know how to do it, and you haven't been doing it, you haven't been practicing it, you haven't been training. And it goes with anything else. That's a skill. Like you don't just start doing something on day one and you're good at it. I mean, for the most part. I mean, now some people are just naturally gifted out there. But a lot of skills take time, take practice, and the same goes for lifting weights. Like you're not just going to get in the gym and do it right from day one. You got to practice it. It's a skill, and you need to try and perfect it. Like you need to get better at it. You need to improve at it. It's going to help everything. Like it's going to be good. And that's what we're going to get into in the podcast today. Like why? Why do you need to perfect it? What it's going to do for you? Why is it good? Why is it bad? The importance, of lifting weights and things like that. So we're going to get all into perfecting the skill of lifting weights today. We're going to start off first with what is a skill? It's like, what is a skill? A skill is something that improves with practice, with intention, and with repetition. So something that you can improve upon, you can get better at. Most skills require technique. They're going to require some kind of feedback, and they're definitely going to require some patience, especially when it comes to the gym. Because, let's be honest, you're not going to be lifting as much weight as you want to as soon as you want to because it takes the time. Like, you're going to have to be patient. Strength training is not just random movements. They're very specific movements, and you do them for a specific reason. You move in certain movement patterns because your muscles work in certain ways. Like, so you have to do the movement based off what muscle you're trying to work, because your muscles only move in certain planes. And so a skill is a controlled, repeatable movement. Like in fitness, it's a controlled, repeatable movement pattern under load. So you're doing it under load with weights. You can do it, body weights, but even that's still a load. Like you're using your body for the weight. So think of squatting, hinging, pressing, pulling. These are learned patterns, not just natural instincts. So you got to learn how to squat, you got to learn how to hinge, you got to learn how to press and pull. There's a specific way to do it. So let's get into a little bit more about it today. And why? So why is it important to learn how to properly lift weights? So when you properly lift weights, you're going to keep your joints healthy. That's huge. Because if you do it wrong and you hurt your joints, it's not going to be fun. You're going to be injured. You're going to hurt. You're going to be in pain. So let's try to avoid that if we can. Pretty simple. It's going to protect your spine. So when you lift correctly, you're going to protect your spine, which is huge. I mean, we all know how important our spine is. So you don't want to hurt it, especially like your lower back. People nowadays have all kinds of lower back problems. So we want to protect this at all costs. I know this is a problem with me. Like I have, kind of back problems a little bit. So I'm very cautious when it comes to certain lifts that I do because they tend to hurt my back. So a lot of times I'll either avoid them or I will practice them with very, very, very light weight just so I can get better at them. Because we don't always want to avoid something just because we're not good at it. We need to improve upon those things that we're not good on. Our weaknesses, we got to get better at them. And then proper lifting also recruits, it improves muscle recruitment is what I mean. It improves, it allows you to have that mind-muscle connection more. Like you're able to use those muscles more efficiently. You're able to move them better, if that makes sense. And it recruits, more muscles around. So on the other hand, poor form, like bad lifting technique, it don't just look bad, but it leaks strength. So you're not as strong when you don't lift weights correctly. Like when you don't do your form correctly, you're not as strong. It's definitely going to increase your risk for injury. Like it goes through the roof when you're not properly lifting. especially when you get a lot more weight on there. You can definitely put yourself at risk for injury, and it's going to slow your progress. So if you're not practicing the proper techniques, like you're not going to get the benefit from the weightlifting that you should, like that you could get, because you're not doing it right. So you're not working the muscle the way it's supposed to be worked, if that makes sense. Like you're not, maybe you're not moving the correct plane, or you're not, using the muscle that you think you're using when you're doing a certain lift. So you're just going to slow down your progress. So when you lift with intention, when you do it the correct way, the right muscles do the work. So like if I want to work my bicep, I want to do it correctly to where I'm actually working my bicep, if that makes sense. And then your body's going to adapt the way it's supposed to. It's like when you start working out, your body will kind of just learn the right movement patterns, and then it'll be pretty easy once you learn it correctly. You'll be able to recruit the certain muscles that you need more efficiently. You're teaching your nervous system how to move efficiently. So like, for example, before I did my bodybuilding show, I never really like flexed, because like when you do bodybuilding, you have to do all the different poses, and I never really did that. So there was a lot of like, I didn't have a good mind muscle connection for a lot of those poses that you have to do, because you have to flex literally like every muscle, and I just wasn't good at. Like for the worst one for me was my lats. I could not flex my lats. I couldn't spread them out because I never tried to. Like I had never done it. So that mind muscle connection wasn't there. So that was one thing I really had to practice. Like I had to practice sitting there like flexing my my lats. And I got better at it. Like it was easy because like I couldn't figure out how to do it at first because I'd never done it. But once I like practiced and had somebody teach me the right way to do it, then I just practiced it every day because I had to pose every single day. And I got better at it. Now I can do it without even thinking about it. Like I can flex my lats out, no problem. But if you've never done it before or done it the proper way, you don't really know how to do it. But you can train it and you can get better at it, improve upon it. So that's what I did. So what happens when you perfect the skill of lifting? First and foremost, you're going to get stronger. You're going to get stronger and without having to do a bunch of crazy weight. Like you can get a lot stronger and do less weights, if that makes sense. Like the way you manipulate your workouts, you don't have to do a bunch of weight. Like you can, if that's what you want to do, that's cool too. But like the way you do certain lifts, you can make them harder with less weights. So you can still get stronger and not have to put a bunch of weight on the bar. Because the more weight you put on the bar, the more at risk you are, period. I don't care what you're doing. It's going to it's going to put you at more risk for injury. Even if you're strong enough to do it. Like say 405 is light for a squat for you, and you can do it no problem. But you're still at more risk doing 405 than you are 225. So there's different ways you can switch it up. And if you're really connecting with your muscles, you don't have to do super crazy weights to really get stronger. For example, like you can slow down your rep a lot. Like go put 135 on the bar on a squat and do a rep where you do 4 seconds down, 4 seconds at the bottom, like you stay 4 seconds at the bottom and then 4 seconds on the way up. And do that. I promise you your legs are going to be burning because you're manipulating the way you do the lift, you perform it. So also, what happens when you perfect the skill of lifting is you build muscle more effectively. So when you do the proper technique, when you work the muscle the way it's supposed to be worked, you're going to get better results. It's going to be more efficient. You're not going to have to work as hard, if that makes sense. And then you're going to recover faster between workouts because you're not, putting yourself at risk for injury. You're not, hurting other muscles when you're trying to do one specific lift. Like you're going to be able to recover better when you do it properly. For example, like your back, like if you have back problems and it's sore after a workout, well, it's probably because you didn't do something correctly. Like if you did the lift correctly, it probably wouldn't be sore. So when you're doing it right, you're going to recover faster. And then you're going to feel more confident in the gym. So you're not going to, be worried about other people looking at you. You're going to be more confident in doing certain lifts, like lifts that may be hard or lifts that you may fail at that you need like a spotter for. You're going to be more confident in the gym doing these lifts when you learn the proper technique. Also, your lifts are going to become more consistent. So that's a good thing, being more consistent with the amount of weight and reps that you can do. Because if you haven't worked out much, you'll come to realize that some days you're just not as strong as you are on other days. And that's because maybe you got a bad night's rest. Maybe you got, you didn't eat something, I don't know, you haven't ate today, or you had a lot of stress or something, like your things can fluctuate. So the better you get your technique, the more consistent your workouts would be, and the more consistent like your energy levels and stuff will be. So you'll be able to work out more consistently. Also, another benefit is your body moves better outside of the gym. So like when you're not at the gym, everything you do is just better. Like you can bend over and pick things up easier. You can, like, your standing and walking and running is better because you have proper, you have better form, you have better posture. So that's one thing, like weightlifting will correct a lot of your posture. So that'll be better when you're just walking and running or standing. And also, like, playing with your kids, you'll have more stamina. You'll be more conditioned and stuff to go outside and play with your kids. So those things outside of the gym also improve. And then also you'll reduce just random aches and pains that you may get in places because you maybe didn't perform a lift correctly. But so if you're doing it right, you're not going to get all these little small minor like aches and pains that just kind of are annoying to have. So strength training, it's a nervous system skill. So what does that mean? So like muscle growth isn't just muscular, it's neurological. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know like all the ins and outs about this. I really don't, but it is. So better technique equals better like brain to muscle connection. Like that's that mind muscle connection I was talking about. You can practice that. Like when you think of a certain muscle in your head, you can connect with it more. Like you can flex it more, or you can focus on it. Like it's hard to explain without actually kind of like showing you and you doing it for yourself. But this is why beginners get stronger quickly, because their nervous system is learning that skill. They're learning to be able to feel those certain muscles. Like when you're doing like say for example, you're doing a bicep curl. When you can literally focus on your muscle on your bicep, you can, it's like a skill. Like you can learn to like focus on it and really work that muscle out, that one specific one. So the better you move, the more strength you can safely express, if that makes sense. So some common mistakes when chasing weight instead of mastery. So like when you're trying to lift a bunch of weight instead of performing the lift correctly, because you can lift more weights if you do some things incorrectly. So that's the difference between like ego lifting and skill building. So that's the difference. Like what's the difference here? So adding weight too fast, it reinforces bad habits and it increases your risk for injury. If you're trying to do too much weight too fast, too soon, you're trying to go up and get stronger, it can lead to injury, and it's gonna keep you having those bad habits. Like you're not gonna overcome and perfect them if you have too much weight on there, because it's gonna limit you on performing the lift correctly. Most of the time when you do things correctly, it's harder to perform. So a lot of times you will have to take weight off in order to do it correctly, if that makes sense. So like a lot of times you can technically do more weight on certain lifts if you kind of cheat the rep a little bit, or if you're not doing it right, or you're using a little bit of momentum here or there, you bring in other muscles into the lift when you shouldn't be. It makes it easier so you could do more weight. So that's not what we want to do. That's kind of more ego lifting than it is performing it correctly. So the best lifters in the gym, one, they're going to control the weight, they're going to move it with purpose, and then they're going to make lighter weights look heavy. So that kind of goes back to how I was saying, when you do the squat, do like 4 seconds down and then 4 seconds at the bottom and 4 seconds up. So you can do that with lighter weight, but to you it feels way heavier because of the way because you're doing it slow. There's more time under tension when you do it that way. So you can make lighter weights look heavy. So for like a lot of people probably think I'm a lot stronger than what I actually am because I have some muscles. But that's the way I train. I train for hypertrophy. I'm not training for strength. So I train with lighter weights a lot of the time, but it's just the way that I lift them allows me to build more muscle, if that makes sense. Now, so that's a lot different than training for strength. Like power lifters train a lot differently than how I train. I don't train the same. They're training for strength. So me and a power lifter will look totally different. Like somebody that does the strongman competitions and things, like they'll look totally different than me. Because the technique of training is different. Like muscle and like the size of muscle and strength is not a 1-to-1 ratio. Yes, they are related. They definitely are related. The bigger your muscle is, the stronger it's going to be, but it's not a 1-to-1 relationship. Like somebody smaller than me could be a lot stronger than me if that makes sense. Like they could lift more weights than me a lot of times, but if they've been training for strength, because that's not really what I do. It's not how I train. So they're just a little. It's kind of confusing, I know, but just know that size doesn't always mean the strongest person. You know what I'm saying? It's not a 1-to-1 ratio. So some potential negatives of lifting weights. So like if you're doing it incorrectly, of course, is increased injury risk with poor form. We've always already talked about this. We know that. And then overuse injuries from, bad technique or too much volume or no recovery. Like if you're working out every day of the week, you're not going to recover. It's going to lead to injury. If you're doing too much volume, if you're in the gym for 3 hours a day working out, like you're probably going to go get an overuse injury. Like you're probably going to get injured because that's just too much. And then if you're using bad technique, it's definitely going to lead to injury, especially as you start getting up there in some weight. There's also some mental burnout if you treat training as punishment, like you may kind of burn out a little bit if you're doing it wrong. And then if you're lifting without a plan, it can lead to plateaus or frustration. Like if you don't have a strategic training plan you're following, you're probably going to plateau at some point, and then you're going to get mad. Like you're going to get frustrated. Like, why am I not seeing any improvement? Why am I not getting stronger? Why am I not getting bigger? Whatever. So it's important that these negatives come from I'm sorry. So it's important to remember that those negatives I just talked about, they come from how you lift and not lifting itself. Like those are not results of lifting weights. Those are results of lifting weights incorrectly. So that can be fixed. So don't let that kind of get you down or frustrate you. Those can be fixed, and we can kind of overcome those. Because I've been doing it for 12 years, and I'm still doing it. So it's definitely sustainable if you do it the correct way. So who should lift weights? Honestly, everyone, in my opinion. I think everyone should lift weights if you're physically able to lift weights. Beginners should lift weights. Older people should lift weights. I mean, definitely athletes, runners, endurance athletes should definitely lift weights. People trying to lose fat should lift weights even more than cardio, in my opinion. People trying to gain muscle, obviously, you got to lift weights if you're trying to gain muscle. People who just want to feel strong and capable should definitely lift weights. Strength training is not just lifting weights. There's also machines that you can use. There's bands that you can use. There's body weight that you can use. So when I say lifting weights, I really just mean resistance training. Resistance training could be anything. It could be, like I said, body weights, bands, machines, light weights, whatever. But I just lump them all into one when I say lifting weights. So it's not about being a bodybuilder. If you want to be a bodybuilder, that's cool. But it's not about being a bodybuilder. It's about being resilient. Just being more healthy overall, having that kind of functionality that your body is supposed to have. It can come from lifting weights. So why is lifting weights one of the most important things in your fitness journey? Because it builds muscle. Well, what does muscle do? Muscle protects your metabolism. Like the more muscle you have in your body, the higher your metabolism is. Just because it costs more calories to your body to maintain muscle. So that's why a lot of times you see a lot of big, strong guys, they eat a lot of food. And that's because, they eat a lot of food and they don't get fat. And that's because they have a lot more muscle in their body. Like they're burning a lot more calories when they're just sitting there. Like their metabolic rate is higher than an average person. Also, strength supports longevity and independence. So we want to live and be healthy into our old age. So we wanted to, if you lift weights, it's going to help with that. I mean, I think there's a statistic out there that you lose 1% of your muscle every year after the age of 30 or something. I don't know. That may be wrong. Don't quote me on that, but it's something like that. Like you lose muscle every year. So we want to prevent that from happening. So we want to lift weights to help build muscle or maintain the muscle that we have. Now, the older you get, when you get up there, you're probably not going to build a lot of muscle, but you can still maintain a lot of muscle and not lose the muscle. It's also going to help you be more independent. You're not going to have to depend on other people because you can still, get up, walk, exercise, do things around the house as you get older. Strength training is also going to improve bone density, so your bones will be stronger. You won't have broken bones and things like that as easy. Hopefully that don't happen to anybody, but it does strengthen your bones. It's going to improve your posture and your joint health. So working your back out is going to kind of pull your back, pull your shoulders back. I know a lot of people slump over nowadays because we either sit at a desk or we play on a phone all day, and our posture is just bad. So it's going to help with this. It's going to help, pull you back upright like you're supposed to be. It's going to make every other form of exercise easier. So when you lift weights, any other kind of exercise you do, it's going to become easier. So like if you're a runner and you lift weights, it's going to help your running. If you're a cyclist, it's going to help your cycling. Whatever it may be. If you like to rock climb, it's going to make you stronger. So I don't know, whatever kind of workout you like to do, lifting weights is going to help that workout. So just remember, strength is like the foundation. I like to say that a lot. It's the foundation. You build the foundation first. So once you build strength training, your cardio is going to improve. When you're stronger, your cardio can improve. Running's going to feel better. Daily life feels easier when you kind of build that strength as your foundation. It just everything else kind of plays off of that strength. I mean, when I say strength, I don't necessarily mean you got to be like the strongest person in the room. You don't have to be a bodybuilder or a strong man, power lifter. The strength, I just mean like building strength for you, like you getting stronger than what you are. You don't have to be some big jacked swole person. That's not what I mean by strength. I just mean, improving upon what you already have now. So how to start treating lifting as a skill. One, slow down your reps. Don't be doing no crazy fast reps. I mean, depending on what you're training for, sometimes you may use fast reps. Like if you're trying to train for power, if you're an athlete, a lot of times you'll train for explosiveness and you will do it kind of fast, and that's cool. But like for most people, you don't really need to do like super fast reps. So slow down your reps. Focus on control, not momentum. Don't use momentum. Don't swing your body. Don't use your legs if you're doing an overhead movement or something. Don't use momentum. Focus on controlling the weight. Learn the basic movement patterns first. So like the basic ones, I think we talked about squatting, hinging, pulling, and pressing. Like learn those basic movement patterns first. Film your lifts so you can go back and watch them later, so you can get some feedback. Like film them, and then because it's hard to tell what you're doing when you're doing it yourself because you can't see it. So film yourself and then go back and look at it because you can see exactly what you're doing. I do this a lot myself, especially like if I'm squatting or something. I like to look at my technique because it's hard to tell what you're doing when you're actually doing it because you can't see it. So you just get a better view of it if you can video it. Be patient. Mastery takes time. Like I'm still learning how to do lifts. And I've been lifting for 12 years. There's a lot of lifts I'm not good at it that I'm good at, so I avoid them and I don't do them. But a lot of times I will find a lift that I'm not good at and I will purposely like practice it until I get better at it because there's a lot that I don't like to do. Like one that I still haven't really learned how to do technically is the deadlift. I don't do deadlifts because I don't like them. I've never been good at them and they hurt my back. So, I mean, for me, the risk versus reward just isn't there. A lot of people swear by the deadlift. They say it's one of the best lifts you can do. And I agree with them. It is. But for me, it hurts my back when I do it. And that's probably because I'm not doing it correctly. So that's something I could go back and learn and really perfect. And it would probably benefit me. Like, I could probably get a lot stronger if I started doing the deadlift now because I've never done it before. So it would be like newbie gains again for me. It's probably something I should do. I just hadn't got around to doing it. And I probably will at some point whenever I have some time when I'm not training for some kind of endurance event, when I'm really focusing on, getting stronger. I probably will throw the deadlift in there and try to learn it. So you got to remember, the goal isn't to survive the workout. The goal is to improve the skill. You don't just want to get through or get by. You want to get better at it, improve upon it, and you will get stronger. You will get bigger as a result. You'll see those results. So yeah, strength training isn't just exercise. Like you're not just going to the gym, checking the box. It's kind of like, in a weird way, it's like education for your body. Like you're teaching your body, you're training your body how to move, the correct movement patterns, things like that. As we get older, we don't move like we used to when we were younger. Like, when's the last time you got up off the floor? Like, you probably haven't done that in a long time. If you do me a favor, don't do me a favor. I want to challenge you to do something. Go get on the floor, like all the way on the floor, and stand up without using your hands. Try it. Just try it. I promise you, it's a lot harder than you think. You think, oh, that's easy. Like, that's nothing. Like, just stand up. Try it. Lay down on your floor and stand all the way up and don't use your hands. It's a lot harder than you think. It's because you don't use it no more. You don't do that. We don't use it. We're not kids anymore. We're not on the floor a lot. Like, we're not flexible. If you don't use things, you will lose it. Your body will quit having the ability to do certain things like that. Like, you won't be able to do it. It's hard because you just don't do it. So your body don't need to be able to be that flexible. Like you're not flexible no more. So that's a cool little challenge. Try that today when you get home from work or whatever you're doing. Go lay down on your floor, or you don't even have to lay down. You probably just sit down on your butt and just try to stand up without your hands. It's harder than you think. I promise, especially if you haven't done it in a long time. Also, remember, every rep is a chance to practice. So every time you're doing a new lift, you're practicing it. Think of it that way. Don't just think, oh, you're performing it to get through the workout. Like think, oh, I got to practice this lift. I'm going to get better on this set. Like this rep, I'm going to do it correctly. I'm going to slow it down. I'm going to control the weight. And it's practice. Just like you would a sport, you would practice it to get better at it. You got to practice your lifting. It's the same thing. Perfect the skill first, and the results will follow. Don't worry about your weight. The weight don't matter. Your mind or your muscles cannot, not your mind. Your muscles cannot determine what number the weight says on it. Like your muscle does not know if it says 45 or if it says 25 or if it says 5. Like your muscle don't know. So just do the skill right, and then you will get stronger. It'll just happen. It's just a result of doing it correctly. So lift with intention, not ego. Remember that. Lift with intention, not ego. So that's all I got for y'all today. If you want to, if you can, leave a review on the podcast. I appreciate it. Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you're at, go subscribe to the channel. And let me know if you have any topics you want me to cover on the podcast, because I could always use good ideas to do. Or if you have any questions, please let me know. Follow me on social media at MurphyMacFit. Share the episode with a friend. I appreciate it. Other than that, y'all have a great week, and y'all tune in next week for another episode of the Fitness Beginner Podcast. Peace, love, protein. We out.